History is defined by moments, where everything changes in an instant. Welcome to History's Incident Files. Hit subscribe and let's explore the past. Boston, 1919. A 2 million gallon tidal wave of deadly molasses. A wave at 35 miles an hour, killing 21 people. Boston will never be the same. To see how this all unfolded, let's open the file with your digital host, Stephen Franklin.
Welcome, I am the digital avatar of Stephen Franklin. We are in the workshop. In here, we don't just study history, we go find it. All right, we are heading to the portal room to review our first incident in history. All right, ladies and gentlemen, dials are set. Destination, Boston, 1919. We have arrived in the past. Let's move over to Commercial Street, the site of the disaster. Some cases are never truly closed. They are just buried in the shadows of history until someone dares to look closer. The docks of this old harbor hold many forgotten secrets. Every crate and vessel tells a story of the past, but some stories were never meant to be uncovered. Some stories are written in ink, others in blood. To understand the future, we must uncover the past. What if I told you that on a warm January morning, a wave taller than a house was about to tear through this exact street? A wave of molasses, made for candy, moving at 35 miles an hour. It took 21 lives, and nobody saw it coming. This is the North End. Thousands of immigrant families, packed into tenements just steps from the waterfront, building the American dream one block at a time. 4 years earlier, Purity Distilling needed to store molasses fast. Demand for industrial alcohol had exploded. Molasses wasn't just for baking. Fermented, it made industrial alcohol, for dynamite, for ammunition, for the war machine of World War I. They built it in record time, and they skipped the one test that mattered most, filling it with water first, to check for leaks. It leaked almost immediately. The company's fix? Paint the whole tank the same dull brown as the molasses, so nobody would notice. Local residents showed up daily with cups. To them, it was free candy leaking out of the sky. By 1919, the tank had leaked and groaned. Workers joked that it sang, but nobody asked what a 50-foot steel drum is actually supposed to sound like. 2 days before the disaster, a fresh, warm shipment gets pumped in. It pours right on top of the older, freezing batch already inside. Warm syrup mixed with cold syrup starts to ferment. Fermentation makes gas, which builds pressure. And this weak steel tank had nowhere to release it. January 15th, 1919. The temperature jumps to 40 degrees. The countdown has already started, and nobody down here knows it yet. We lock the timeline. We are moving to the final minutes on Commercial Street. 11:40 a.m. The first thing that hits you isn't the harbor, it's sugar. It is thick and heavy, coating the back of your throat. 50 feet tall, 90 feet across, 2.3 million gallons, parked in the middle of a working-class neighborhood. This tank has been weeping for months, but when money is involved, then safety gets pushed to the back of the line. 2 blocks down, firefighters are on break. Railroad workers are loading a car. Everyone's relaxed. Nobody's watching the tank. It took 15 minutes. Total structural failure. Rivets are about to come off like machine gun fire. Our expert researcher, Hermes, is here to trace the breakdown.
That's right, Steve.
The cold temperature made the steel brittle, while warm cargo pumped into the tank built massive pressure. He's got 15 minutes left standing this close, and he'll never know how close he came. At around 12:40, the clock runs out. All the warning signs were ignored. Let's watch this disaster unfold. There it is. It's not a leak, it is a total structural collapse. This was something like in a movie, a 15-foot wave barreling down the streets of Boston. This was not a regular flood. The Molasses flood was almost 2 times denser than water. Once the molasses grabs you, it doesn't let go. Watch the horses. They got caught on the sticky sludge, and they don't stand a chance while the wave's still rising. That's engine 31. The firefighters inside, still on their break, about to be lifted with the building itself. This is the part where I'd tell you to run, but at 35 miles an hour, there was nowhere to go. In under a minute, an entire commercial block disappeared. Buildings were knocked clean off their foundations. As it cooled, it thickened, and from a fast-moving wave into something closer to wet cement. It was a struggle for people and animals. Every step took monumental effort. Sailors rushed in from the harbor to lead the dig. Fresh water wouldn't cut it. Boston's fireboats pumped millions of gallons of salt water straight from the harbor to break the syrup down. The search went on for days and days. 21 dead, over 150 hurt. The North End had no warning system for a disaster building right in its backyard, and the consequences would be devastating. And what followed was one of the most grueling cleanup operations in American history. It took over 87,000 man-hours to clean this neighborhood. Weeks of sand, salt water, and sheer stubbornness. Boston Harbor reportedly ran brown for months afterward, the sugar slowly dissolving into the Atlantic. It made national headlines. And almost as fast as the wave hit, the legal fight began. Over 3,000 plaintiffs banded together to sue U.S. Industrial Alcohol. This was one of the longest civil trials in Massachusetts history. The investigation found the steel was too thin, and the design was never signed off by a qualified engineer, but proceeded anyway. 6 years later, the company was found liable. The damages that would run into the tens of millions today. For decades, locals swore that on a hot summer day, you could still smell molasses rising out of the ground. But the physical scars of the North End eventually faded, replaced by something much larger. The neighborhood moved on. But this didn't just fade into an archive. It changed how the world gets built. Here's the part of this story that actually touches your life. Before 1919, almost anyone in America could put up a massive structure with zero oversight. After this, Massachusetts made it a law that every structural plan had to be signed off by a licensed engineer before anyone could break ground. That single rule is why every skyscraper, bridge, and stadium goes through rigorous math before a shovel ever hits dirt. Stand on this corner today, and you'd never know it happened. It is just a quiet piece of history that crowds walk by every day. That traces straight back to this pavement. In a strange twist, their deaths are the reason your buildings are safe today. Well, it is time for Steve and I to head back to the workshop. Next time on History Incident Files, a boiler explosion that tore a Mississippi riverboat apart, right on the river. Big thanks to the research crew behind the scenes. They have been working tirelessly to map out all this data. We are fully set up here in the barn, and to Rex on camera duty. If you watched the whole episode, we thank you and hope to see you next time. Hit like and subscribe. We would really appreciate it.